Just had the video cut out on me unexpectedly. I have no idea what happened. My apologies for that. I'm just going to continue talking about the mediation operations. For a number of years, I was the chair of the San Bernardino County not Public Employee Association, the arbitration panel for county employees in San Bernardino. That was indicative of an effort to try and control the arbitration and mediation process within the county. One of the things that's happened over the last 15, 20 years has been the gradual takeover of the functions of the independent functions of the local agencies. And they've been taken over by PERB, or at least PERB standards have to be applied. So you've got the gradual standardization of mediation, arbitration, conciliation features, and that now makes PERB that makes the standards adopted by PERB pretty much statewide standards for determining representation, determining what are unfair labor practices, and so on and so forth. So that is a significant change from what's been happening, what happened in the past. Another sort of evolutionary phase in the process in California has been the realization that some of the local associations are not powerful enough to be able to handle the sorts of negotiations that are now required, and they now seem as targets of opportunity for large national unions. And I've assigned you a research paper, or at least one group of paper, to try and address that particular issue, at least to examine that particular issue. But what you're seeing is, and it's not an inevitable decline, but at least it's the understanding that there's far more likely to be opposition to a local public employee association, and that if there's opposition, then there's the potential for a national union like SEIU or like the Teamsters to come in and try and provide representation services. Now, here's part of the issue, so you understand, so you're really clear about it. People in general that are in sort of conservative unions, that is, local unions who are only concerned with wages, hours, and terms and conditions of employment, they tend not to be all that keen on the social issues that the larger unions want to get involved in: ending racism, expanding the minimum wage, dealing with civil rights issues, and dealing with political issues. And so this is where you're seeing the problem between the Republicans and the Democrats on this particular issue. By and large, you'll find that police unions and firefighter unions, their members, will tend to be relatively conservative. And now they're in the situation where they're having to oppose Republican policies. And it's causing a problem for them. And this is the opportunity for the larger outside unions to come in. I'm not sure it'll happen too much with the police, but you do see the conflict where the larger unions have a political agenda, and by and large it's a Democratic political agenda, and it runs smack into a Republican political agenda, which is clearly different. And this is where you're seeing some of the conflict between the attitudes of Republicans towards public employee unions. For example, the chair of the Orange County Republican Party has made it clear that he does not want any of his candidates to, this is for city councils and so forth, to accept any money from unions. I mean, flat out hostility to it. It's also indicative of the fight that's going on at the moment about fair share and the case, the Fredericks case that we're talking about, where there's a proposal to change the retirement system for public employees in California. It's going to have to go on a ballot initiative. And while it looks like it's sponsored by a combination of Republicans and Democrats, the reality is it's a Republican-dominated move to try and end defined benefit programs. Now, they wanted that on this particular election agenda that's coming up this year. But the agency fee thing hasn't changed yet. The Supreme Court hasn't made the decision, and the unions will still be politically powerful and be able to spend a lot of money on political action. So they will obviously oppose that particular thing, and they're going to be particularly active in this election because there is a ballot initiative to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. So the proponents of this alteration to the retirement proposal, the initiative on the ballot, will take it off and wait until an election year in which there isn't quite so much interest by the union movement, and perhaps where the union movement will not have as much funds to be able to defeat this thing. They are very, very concerned with what happens in issues like this, because sometimes conservative political unions and liberal political unions will get together, and Arnold, former governor, of course, found that to his cost when he alienated all of the public service in the state of California. Okay, we'll leave that one at this because I want to move on to something else.